All right. In fact, Group Captain very rightly said, in fact, at this point of time, the civil war in Syria only seems to be brewing and intensifying with, in fact, a lot of uncertainty and chaos being given to the people and the traveler, in fact, at this point of time. Now, we are getting to the breaking development that we are tracking at Damascus airport, viewers. The footage that you can see on your screen captures a scene of complete chaos, and staff and security personnel suddenly trying to vanish, leaving travelers in a state of panic, with many running in all directions without any idea of where to go. Meanwhile, flights are abruptly cancelled after the escalation of the president, in fact, fleeing the country of the Syrian Arab Republic, adding to the confusion. The visuals on your screen are of the complete chaos that Assad's departure from Damascus came amid the total collapse of his regime, making the end of 61 years of the Ba'athist rule at the beginning of a new chapter in Syria's turbulent history. All right, viewers, joining me live on the broadcast is once Major Muhammad Ali Shah. Thank you for speaking to us. And at this point, it is very concerning to look at the developments that we are tracking very closely from Syria. The crash follows Assad's dramatic attempt to flee the country as rebel forces have seized the control of major cities, including Damascus as well. Syrian Arab Army, once a symbol of regime, of strength, capitulated under the weight of internal disorganization and a coordinated rebel offensive. Major Muhammad Ali Shah, your thoughts?
Right, Simran, this was bound to happen. It was only a matter of time, and this was building up. And the rebels in Syria, they had taken over half of Syria. Just the President Bashar al-Assad, he was left, and now I believe even he has fled. So when he has fled, there's nothing remaining of Syria now, of course. Now we have to understand geographically, Syria is actually a part of Syria. Golan Heights was captured by Israel, and it's a very, very beautiful area. It's got a lot of water links. Now, these rebels, in fact, Syria had fought a war with Israel as well in 1967, 1973. In fact, now these rebels have yesterday they have disclosed that they are aided by Israel as well and by Americans as well. So the very fact that this was bound to happen, Syria has had a very, very autocratic form of governance over there. They had dictatorship. So when President Bashar al-Assad came, they had some hopes that it would not happen. Now, right from 2011 onwards, the rebels were very much in Syria. They were training themselves, but most certainly they have a whole lot of influence there. Also, they have power now. Syria is also bordered with Turkey. So Turkey has been eyeing a part of Syria as well. And Syria always believed in the ideology that, let's get the Arab world together. When we have the Arab world together, we will not have any of the Israel influence with us anymore. We will be able to counter Israel by getting together. Also, in April first week, there was an attack on an Israeli or a Syrian consulate where some Iranian IRGC guards were killed. That time, Iran said Israel has done it and we will take revenge against Israel. So there was no question, there was no proof, there was no declaration as to who had done the attack. Iran gave an attack on the Central Economic Zone in Israel. The missiles fell at a place where there was no damage, in fact. So it was more of a symbolic attack. Now, Syria also had said that their airspace, Syria and Saudi Arabia were two nations a couple of months back, which said that when Iran was planning to attack Israel, their airspace would not be used to attack Israel. So now, in Syria, when we are seeing a heavy, I would call it as Libya Part 2, in fact. What happened in Libya? Libya, the rebels took over. And in fact, why only Libya? In fact, on 15th August 2020, in Afghanistan, when the American army left Afghanistan, the Taliban took over. And when the Taliban took over, they made use of the leftover equipment that was left by the US Army, the helicopters, the guns, and other equipment. Similarly, in Syria, when the army fled, the Syrian army left. So the rebels took over their equipment, their ammunition, their weaponry, and it was very advanced weaponry. So now when the president, in fact, overnight, people were fleeing Syria. So in Syria also there are different militant groups, Islamic groups. Like there is Al-Qaeda, there is ISI, and so they are about different groups. But now Al-Qaeda also, they did a lot of wrong in Syria. They mistreated women and very badly, in fact. So when these rebels came on streets a couple of days back, they were also saying that we will not cause you any harm. But we saw a lot of Syrian people, civilians, vacate and leave their homes. That was the fear. They went to a western border where the President Assad was still there, very much there. They thought it would be their last chance to be defended. But then that did not happen. So the fact is, Syria is in for trouble, and I would call it as a beginning to an end in Syria, Simran.
Well, Major Mohammad Ali Shah, in fact, the developments